In the last class of digital communication, we have started unit 5. We were discussing Hamming distance, we have discussed Hamming weight, relation between minimum distance and error detection and correction capability, and just in brief about the linear block code. So today we will continue further about linear block codes, and we will also discuss Hamming bound condition. So let us start. First of all, what we have discussed in the last lecture about linear block code is that when a channel encoder receives message bits, a block of message bits, let us say k message bits, then it gives a coded output as a message bits of k size with it includes check bits of n minus k size, so that the total number of bits in code word are n bits. We can represent this as x is equal to m1 m2 up to mk k message bits followed by c1 c2 up to cq check bits. So total number k plus q equal to n. Total n number of bits will be sent via the code word. Okay, so this is what we have already discussed. Now the next point, let us discuss about the property of linear block code. Here I will discuss one important property of linear block code, that what we can say that if we have a set of code vectors, let us say x1 x2 xn, then when we add two code vectors, the addition must give the value that is another code vector in that set. For example, if I say I have code words x1, x2 up to xn, then addition of x1 and x2 will give me the value x3. This x3 must be a part of this code word. For example, if I say that x1 is 0 0 1 0, let us say that x2 is 0 1 0 1. When I will add these two, adding means what we are doing, we are XORing these. Okay, so when I XOR this, I will get a 1 here, I will get a 1 here, I will get a 1 here, and I will get a 0 here. So this value 0 1 1 1 must be another code vector in this complete set of code vectors. Okay, if it is there, then we can say that okay, these are linear block codes because it is following this linearity property. This is known as linearity property. Okay, now let us proceed further. Another important point is Hamming bound. What is Hamming bound? We discussed in the last class about Hamming distance. We discussed about Hamming weight, minimum Hamming distance, maximum Hamming distance. Right? Now let us talk about Hamming bound condition. What Hamming said, that for n comma k linear block code, we can correct up to t number of errors. This point we have already discussed, that how will we find the value of t based on d minimum, that is d minimum is always greater than equal to 2t plus 1. Right? Now what Hamming said, that for n comma k linear block code, we can correct up to t errors provided following Hamming bound is satisfied. So this condition must be satisfied, only then we can correct t number of errors. Okay, now what is this condition? That to the power n minus k is greater than equal to summation I equal to 0 to t n c I, where n is the number of bits in code word for n comma k linear block code, and k is number of message bits. Okay, so n minus k is what? Basically r, that we can say, we can represent it as r, that is the parity bits, n comma n minus k is your parity bits. So from this Hamming bound condition, we can replace n minus k as r here in this equation, and just by rearranging the term and just by simplifying this equation, we can derive, we can easily find out that to the power r is greater than equal to r plus k plus 1. So how many parity bits should be included to correct up to t errors can be find out from this equation, that is to the power r is equal to or is greater than equal to r plus k plus 1. So this is the required condition. Now let us make it clear with the help of an example. This is the required condition, this is the Hamming bound condition, and from that we have said that this is the required condition, that to the power r must be greater than equal to r plus k plus 1. So from this condition we can find out that how many parity bits are required. So for example, if I say, if I am having this condition and if I say that we have message bits 4, we want to transmit 4 message bits. We know that message followed by check bits will provide us our code word X, right? And we are saying that message bits are 4 in number. Then we are talking about that how many check bits are required. How many check bits, how many parity bits are required if we have 4 message bits for the purpose of correcting t number of bits errors, right? So from this Hamming condition, what we will say that okay, here k is equal to 4. So we will put the value of k is equal to 4 and we will solve this expression to find out the value of r, that means the number of parity bits required. So but to find out the parity bit required, we put this in equation that 4 plus k plus 1, sorry, k is 4. So this is not 4 plus k plus 1, k is 4. I should write 4 plus r plus 1. Okay, so to the power r is greater than equal to 4 plus r plus 1, that means to the power r is greater than equal to 5 plus r. Now we have to find the value of r which should satisfy this equation. Okay, so let us do that. Let us say, if I say that let r is equal to 1. If r is equal to 1, that means what we say, to the power r means to the power 1, it should be greater than equal to, as per the expression, 5 plus r, that means 5 plus 1, that means 6. So 2 is not greater than 6, though, so it is not correct. That means r cannot be 1. Now let us say that r is equal to 2. If r is equal to 2, that means that to the power 2, to the power 2 is greater than equal to 5 plus r, that means 5 plus 2, that is 7. So again to the power 2 is 4, 4 is not greater than 7, so it is again incorrect. So r, we cannot take r as 1 or r as 2. Now let us take third condition. We will continue further till we get a value of r which will satisfy this equation. So now let us take 3. So if r is equal to 3, that means to the power 3. To the power 3 should be greater than or equal to 5 plus 3, that is 8. That means to the power 3 is equal to 8, so it satisfied the condition. Okay, so we can take r as 3. So which is written here, that which implies that r is less than equal to 3. That means 3 parity bits are required. So the n comma k code, we can say that if m is 4 here, then we must have 3 parity bits. So the code word will have total 7 bits to correct t number of errors. Okay, so this is simple mathematics. I hope this is clear. Now let us proceed further. We have discussed the linear block code, right? This we have already discussed, that how are we representing x as m1 m2 mk comma c1 c2 cq. Now from this form let us try to represent our message, our code word from this form. Let us try to represent it in vector form of a linear block code. LBC stands for linear block code. Okay, so here we know that q is equal to n minus k. In vector form we can say that x vector is equal to m and c vector, right? where M is k bit message vector and C is q bit check vector. This is much simple. Directly we can represent it like this. The check bits play the role of error detection and correction. We know this very well. We have already discussed this point many times that these check bits play the role of error detection and correction. The main work of linear block code is to generate these check bits. Agree? So we have just discussed that how many check bits are required. Now we will talk about that how will we generate these check bits. We have discussed that how many check bits are required. We have discussed here, right? Now we will find out that what will be the value of these check bits. Okay, so before that what we are doing that we are just representing in a different manner. We have represented here in vector form. Now we will represent it in matrix form from this vector form. Okay, so what can we write? Let us talk about the matrix representation of linear block code. Remember that message is having k bits and check bits are having n minus k bits. That means n minus k is equal to, let us say, r. Okay, so code vector we have already represented. We can write code vector as x is equal to m into g. Now what is this g? Before that, x is known to us that x is code vector of, what is the size of code vector? We have n bits, right? So we can say that in matrix form it is 1 cross n size or n bits simply, right? And message is having size k. So M matrix is message vector or matrix of 1 cross k size. Now what is this G? This is the important term, right? So let us talk about this G. G is generator matrix of, what is the size? K cross n. How will we find this size k cross n? Let us see here that X is matrix 1 cross n, simply one row with n vectors, right? And it is M is having 1 cross k, it is 1 cross n and it is 1 cross k. Now you have to multiply this message matrix with some other matrix such that when you will multiply here you will get the code word, and in that code word initial, let us say initial, these k bits must be message bits and the rest bits must be these bits must be the parity bits, right? So this is what we want. So if we want that we should multiply this matrix with this matrix such that we should get this value k initially as it is. So message is already known to us, so we should multiply it with what? We should say that here we should divide it first, and we should say that here this portion should be an identity matrix. So when we will multiply it with identity matrix we should get the same values. That means here we will get the same code word as we want. Okay, so here initially it will be the identity matrix according to this size, right? And then it should follow here some bits which should be such that we can get these values of parity bits, right? So for that, how, what should be the size? It should have the size k cross n to satisfy this, right? It will be more clear to you with the help of example. Let us proceed further first. Generator matrix, we have talked right now about the generator matrix. That generator matrix, see the last slide here, generator matrix, I said that initially it is identity matrix and then it is parity. Okay, then only we will, when multiply with message, initially we will get this message here and then the code vector, then the check bits. Okay, so we are saying that generator matrix is having identity matrix and parity matrix. Okay, now identity matrix will be of size k cross k because k is the size of message bit. So when we will multiply it with that we will get exactly k size message bits. Then p is your parity bits of size k cross q, so that you can get q size check bits when you will multiply it with message bits. So actually message bits we are finding out by multiplying message bits with these parity bits. We are I am repeating my words that we are multiplying these message bits with these parity bits to find out the check bits, right? So how we are generating this? Okay, so P is K cross Q matrix submatrix. So we can say that check matrix, how we are getting it? Check matrix is simply multiplication of message into parity. This parity, which is a sub part of this generator matrix, second half part. Okay, so we can represent it like C1, C2, CQ are the check bits as per the code we know this portion. We have represented it in here. This portion we are talking about C1, C2, CQ. So to obtain this portion, what we are saying that C is equal to message into parity matrix. C1, C2, CQ we can obtain by these two, that is M1, M2, Mk of 1 cross K size multiplied with this parity matrix of K cross Q size. Okay, so if I will multiply, I can say that C1 is equal to, I can say that C1 is equal to M1 multiplied with P11. It is simple direct multiplication, only M1 multiplied with P11 plus M1 multiplied with P11, then M2 multiplied with P21, M2 multiplied with P21, and so on for this column. So multiplying these message bit with this column will give me the value of code C1. Now multiplying message bits again with this second column will give me the value of code word C2, and multiplying these message bits with this column will give me the value of this code word CQ. So we can write the complete expression as C1 is equal to M1 P11 into M2 P21 plus M3 P31 MK PK1. Similarly, we can write the value of C2, C3 and all other code vectors, right? So this is how we will find out the value of all these check bits. As I have already said that this mathematical analysis will be more clear to you with the help of some examples, so we will discuss that. Okay, so now let us proceed further. Let us have a question to understand it in a better manner. Let us say if I say that the generator matrix for a 6, 3 block code. First of all, 6, 3 block code means we are talking about n, k. So we can say that n is 6 and k is 3. So that means message bits are 3. And how many will be the parity bits? We know that parity bits are equal to n minus k. So message bits are 3 and total bits are 6, so it will be 3 again, right? Okay, now read the question. The generator matrix for 6 cross 3 block code is given below. Okay, this is known to us. Find all the code vectors of this code. Okay, now first of all, let us clear the concept of generator matrix, that what we have discussed, that I told you that generator matrix, it is composed of initially the identity matrix, right, and then the parity matrix. Okay, so that is what you can see here, that generator matrix, this is the generator matrix first part, and you can see that it is nothing but the identity matrix 1 0 0 0 1 0 and 0 0 1, and it should be of size k, that means k is equal to 3, that's why it is 3, right, 3 by 3 matrix. Now another part, this is your parity matrix, as we have discussed parity matrix, for which we are seeing the multiplication terms here, that m1 will be multiplied with p11, m2 will be multiplied with p21, that means first column multiplication with message bits will give us the code word c1, second column multiplied with m1, m2, m3 will give us code word c2, and so on. So this is how we will find the code word. So what we are going to do, we have to find out, as in the question, find all the code vectors of this code. We have message of size 3 bit. Message of size 3 bit means, let us say I say that m1, m2 and m3. So m1, m2, m3 may take any value from 0 0 0, then 0 0 1, up to it can take any value up to 1 1 1. So we have to find code vector for all the cases. Let us say code vector is x1 for this case. Let us say code vector is x2 for this case. Let us say code vector is x. How many are these terms? It will be 8, right? From 0 0 0 to 1 1 1. Let us say it is x8. So code vector will consist of message bits followed by check bits. How many check bits are here? Parity bits are 3. So we will write further C1, C2 and C3. So we have to find out the value of C1, C2, C3 for all the code vectors. That means for x1, what is the value of C1, C2, C3? For x2, what is the value of C1, C2, C3? For x8, what is the value of C1, C2, C3? So for all the cases, we have to find the check bits. Okay, as written, that find all the code vectors of this code. So to find all the code vectors, that means for all the message values, we have to find all the check bits for all these cases. Now let us proceed further to find this. How will we do that? First of all, generator matrix is in front of us, just written here for reference in the left side. Okay, now what we say that generator matrix is ik into pk by q. So ik, as I have already discussed, that it is this 1 0 0 0 1 0 and 0 0 1. So I 3 by 3 size, and parity k by q size is parity 3 by 3, that is 0 1 1 1 0 1 1 1 0. You can see that this parity matrix is this right hand portion here, right? So we have separated these two terms. To find out the code vector, what we will do here, we have already said that k is equal to 3, q is equal to 3, and since n is equal to 6, so there should be total 8 possible message vectors as we discussed, right? So we will find the value. Now how will we find? For each case we have to calculate and find the value of C1, C2 and C3. So instead of calculating each time again separately, what we will write? We will write the expression for C1, C2, C3 in terms of M1, M2, M3, and then we can calculate it quickly. Okay. So first of all, we are writing this M1, M2, M3, all the values 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, then 0, 1, 0 up to 1, 1, 1. Now we have to find out value of C1, C2, C3 for all the cases, right? So how will we do that? We have to multiply this parity matrix with message matrix as we discussed in the last slide. So let us do that. That means I should say that what we should do, first I will write M1, M2, M3. This is our first matrix. Let me write it here first. M into G, we said, that is what we are recalling, that M into G matrix will give me the matrix X for X, right? So X is equal to M1, M2, M3, this is first matrix, and G is known to us. G is having two parts. Initial half portion is for 3, it is identity matrix. So when we will multiply this message with identity matrix, I will get initial 3 terms will same as M1, M2 and M3, right? Then the next 3 terms should give me the value of C1, C2 and C3. So for that we should multiply this M1, M2, M3 with the parity bits written here, right? So how will we do that? We have already discussed mathematically that M1, M2, M3 will be multiplied with this first column will give us the value of C1. M1, M2, M3 multiplied with this second column will give us the value of C2. And when M1, M2, M3 will be multiplied with this third column will give us the value of C3. So I hope you can write the expression. So what will be the expression for C1? General expression for C1 in terms of M1, M2, M3 is M1 multiplied with this first, then M2 multiplied with this second term, and M3 multiplied with this third term, right? So this is written here that C1 C2 C3 is equal to M1 M2 M3 multiplied with this parity matrix. So let us do this. C1 is equal to M1 into this first term 0, M1 into 0, then M2 into 1, this term, M2 into 1, and then M3 into this third term 1. So C1 is equal to, I am writing it again, that C1 is equal to, this term is 0, right? So C1 is equal to M2 XOR M3 only. So taking the values of M2 and M3, I can quickly write by XORing them the value of C1 for all the code vectors simultaneously, right? Similarly, C2 is equal to, we will multiply with the second row, second column. So M1 into 1, it is written here M1 into 1, then M2 into second column, second is 0, so M2 into 0, and M3 into 0, so it is M3, sorry, second column it is 1, so M3 into 1, so it is M3. So C2 is nothing but M1 XOR M3. So C2 is nothing but M1 XOR M3. Okay, and similarly you can easily find out the value of C3, that is M1 into 1, M2 into 1, and M3 into 0. So it is simply M1 XOR M2 since M3 is 0. Right? So by XORing these values you can quickly write all the values. Right? So this is all about for as of now. I want that you should write all the code words for all the cases by yourself and check the answer in my notes. I have explained you the process. Now do it by yourself and check the solution from my notes. We will continue further in the next class. Okay. So today we have discussed linear block code and Hamming bound condition. In the next class I will discuss more example about for linear block code and I will discuss about the encoder of linear block code. Okay. Thank you.